most coaches, they operate off the spray and pray method when it comes to retargeting. Not a good plan. They think that warm traffic means that their conversion costs are going to be less. Not true. That's almost always wrong. But the great thing about retargeting is it can compound your returns. So in other words, if you're getting a 3x return normally, you might get a 6x or a 9x from retargeting. The only thing is if you do it wrong, you're just burning through budget. Let's just kind of get into it. All right, look. Retargeting is exactly what you think it is. You're just showing ads to people who've interacted with your business, right? They've either gotten on your email list or they follow you or they visit your website, all those things. You can retarget them. But it's always garbage in, garbage out, meaning if the initial people that you put on there are not a great fit, well, they're not going to become a great fit from retargeting. So I see this all the time where somebody gets a lead magnet and they're getting super cheap leads, like under $1 or $1, right? And those might be good, but more often than not, they aren't. That's why they're so inexpensive. So now you've just got a whole bunch of people on your email list that's not going to do anything. Now, if you're trying to play the volume game, that might be okay, but more often than not, it doesn't work. So let me talk to you about a couple things here. First, I want to talk to you about email lists and how to retarget them. You want to separate your email list out into two segments: the people who've opened in less than 60 days or 60 days or less, or the people who've opened 60 days or more. And the reason you want to do this is you want to show them two different types of ads. The people who've opened them less than 60 days, then you can be more direct with them. You can tell them exactly what to do. They remember who you are. They'll likely recognize what your offers are, what you do, and that kind of thing. The people who are over 60 days, they've forgotten. It's out of sight, out of mind, and you need to remind them again. Now, they will remember, but you've got to get them re-engaged. So your messaging operates two different ways there. So I wanted to kind of get the email list out of the way because it's sort of the anomaly. You're essentially emailing them as well, hopefully on a regular basis anyway. Let's talk about the rest of the retargeting audiences from best to worst and why they're that way and where you can find them. All right. So if you look in the ads manager and you'll go over to the section that says audiences, you'll see something like this. Now, if you've never set up an audience, you won't show any like mine does. But in here, what you're going to see are what they call saved audiences, custom audiences, and then down here are lookalike audiences. All we want to focus on right now are the custom audiences. And I'm going to show you what I look for, again, in order of preference, and the ones that convert the best. So you'll come over to create audience, hit custom audience. And then when you're in here, the first one, the best one, Instagram followers, not Facebook page, people who like your Facebook page. Those are some of the worst. So don't go down that route. But Instagram, so you'll go to Instagram account. And when you're in here, what you're going to do is you're going to change this events to people who started following this professional account, and then you can label it IG followers. But that one right there, that's the best one. That is typically going to get you the best result, assuming, again, it's garbage in, garbage out, but assuming your followers actually are a good fit for you. Now, I will tell you this, the next best one are profile visitors. So instead of selecting following this professional account, you would go down here to who visited this professional account's profile. Okay. Now on this one, now let me show you something here. You don't see any time period. On this one, who visited the professional profile, the most you can do is 365 days. The thing about that is you don't hardly ever want to do it that far out. You're better off doing a 30, 60, or 90-day one. Okay, depends on how many followers or how many people typically visit your profile to begin with. You know, if there's a fewer number, then you can do 90 days. If there's a bigger number, you can do just 30 days. Okay, now this would include followers, right? It can include some followers, but not all followers. All right, now the next one, let's see, is right here. Instagram who engaged with this account. So it's this one right here. All right. So let me just kind of show that. So it includes people who visited the profile, so it's these people too, or took an action on this post or ad, such as likes, comments, saves, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's the next best one. Now, I like this. The reason I separate these out is because people who take an action on a post or an ad aren't always a good fit because they could have just liked it. They could have just liked the picture or liked the video, the way it looked, or the fact you had the dog in it or whatever. So they didn't really take the extra step to go to visit the profile necessarily, or not all of them did. So I would rather be more narrow and then get a little more broad as you go. I also like to do some that are people who engaged with any post or ad separately, because this will weed out people who visited the profile. So if you want to try to test those separately, you can do that. But that's essentially it. Now, the next one, and these are going to be ones that underperform. If I go to custom audience, I'm going to go to website. And so here, what happens is picking it up off your pixel. Okay, so whatever your pixel is, it's going to pick up that information. And you can choose, go to specific pages and all that stuff. But the thing is that almost never converts unless you're getting very high amounts of traffic to your website. So I usually leave those out because it just doesn't perform very well. And that includes landing page visitors, that includes website registration page visitors, and all that stuff. The next one that's really bad, and people still try to do it, is because it sounds good, is they go to video views. So it's this one right here. Then they go next. Now here they can choose their videos and stuff, or which platform and all that. But those video viewers, it doesn't matter how long they watch the video, those almost never convert. So I would not use those at all. Stick with your followers. Stick with, people who visit your profile, and just kind of keep it on that level. I wouldn't do this right here at all. All right, so now I just want to talk to you a little bit about everything else and what needs to happen with these, with your audiences. And the first thing is about creative. So creative matters more in retargeting because there's a smaller audience and they're more likely to suffer from ad blindness, for one thing. And you want to use, if you can use dynamic ads, that's usually your best bet, because you can put in more hooks, more objections, you can come at more angles, you can come in hard, you can come in soft, and you can really try to give them a variety so you can see what's going to convert. And once you get a set of dynamic ads in there, you don't necessarily need to swap them out often, but you do need to have a variety. Now, let me talk about just a couple of the biggest mistakes that I see. So one is trying to go straight to book a call. That doesn't really work, and I would not suggest that. Even if they are warm, it's hard to get them to go from being on your email list or your profile visit or follower or whatever straight to booking a call. You still need more trust building there. A better method would be to send them to like a VSL, or you can do a webinar or challenge or something. And you can even position that around, hey, I'm only doing this for my followers, right? I've got this webinar, it's only for followers. And when you show up live, you're going to get this, this, and this, because you need to encourage people to show up live. That's a whole different video, which I'll cover another time. But you can do that, or you can say this is only for people on my email list like you. I mean, you can do very specific things. It depends on what the size of your audience is, but those very specific things tend to be helpful. And these are trust building stuff, because on the webinar you're going to convert them to a call or the challenge or whatever. Another way you can do it is you can do it through, but remember, you still need to have the conversation. It's not DM me this, boom, you send them a book a call link. No. You still need to engage them in conversation, even if you've had a conversation with them before. I wanted to cover one other thing, and this is talking about, only applies to you if you have a podcast. So I love podcast retargeting. A lot of people don't because they can't measure it, meaning what you do is you retarget people to like an audiogram and of just a snippet of one of your podcast episodes, and then they go watch it on iTunes or wherever they normally watch their stuff. Now, you can't measure what happens. You don't know if people actually, when they click on it, they actually listened, or if they actually did anything. You don't know. But what we do know is every single client that I have, and especially every 7-figure client that I have, if they have a podcast and they get a call booked and somebody says they have listened to the podcast, it's a sale. Every time, I mean, almost without question. If their normal close rates are 70% or 50%, they're at 95% when they say they listen to a podcast, because they already know the deal and they've already bought into whatever it is that you do. So if you have a podcast, and these would be very low budget, by the way, you would just retarget people all the time to different audiograms. $5 a day max is good enough. Okay, and they just tend to convert. It's that long form system that builds belief. So just simple audiograms, and just keep going with it. And again, like I said, it's hard to measure because you can't put the pixel on there, and you can't tell who converts and who downloads and all that other stuff. But nevertheless, it is still effective. I will tell you this, one thing that is kind of handy, you can use a secret podcast. That has been effective. But usually you want to do that to get them to opt in for it. You're not going to just send them to the secret podcast automatically. Now, one thing that you need to know about what seven-figure coaches do is they understand that people need multiple touches. I think we all do, but it's easy to forget that and try to focus on the next new person instead of retargeting to the existing people. They just need more touches. One of my very best clients that built and sold her business for multiple millions, one of the things that we noticed was that people who purchased from her attended, I can't remember, it's like at least 3 challenges or 4 challenges or something like that. It was a minimum of 3 or 4. They didn't buy on the first one. So remember that. Most seven-figure coaches know that, and that's how they approach it. See, retargeting, it just provides all those touches for you. And cold traffic, what it does is it introduces them to you. So you still got to keep doing cold traffic as well. And retargeting just builds that certainty, and frankly, it's mandatory if you're ever going to scale, if you're ever going to grow your business. Now, if you want to know how seven-figure coaches build their businesses with ads, that's on the next video.